Hey there, welcome to the James Show, News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3, and we love it. I know you love it, I love it. Garrett probably loves it when life imitates art or art imitates life, when we get the two sort of mixed up. And you've heard me lament on this show the political bias that seeps into Saturday Night Live really hamstrings their ability to put together the best show they could possibly do, because they leave so much material untouched if it doesn't fit the narrative. And Joe Biden, the guy that's been running around just saying jabberwocky for the last 5 years with no real accountability from these comedians who, in other situations, love to make fun of presidents and how they speak and what they say, and bringing in some star to play the guy, having Alec Baldwin do most of your cold opens for a couple seasons there, having the big stars coming in and making fun of Sarah Palin and making fun of biases there. It's been overt. You already know about it. I'm not telling you anything new. Now, the fun part is on the Saturday Night Live that just started this new season, now that Joe Biden is no longer of use to them, they're actually making fun of him. And it's hilarious. They brought Dana Carvey out. Now, Dana Carvey's one of us. Dana Carvey is not politically on Team Blue. Here in his older age, he's pretty outspoken about being on Team Red. And look, I try not to think about the years and years of good entertainment, good, just classic comedy that we've missed, because they could have done this the whole time. Joe Biden has been, a public figure your entire life, probably, depending on how old you are, in my entire life. Like, he was first elected to office before I was born, and I'm almost 50 years old. They could have been doing this the whole time. Dana Carvey was around. Why didn't they do this last season? Why didn't they do this 2 years ago? Why didn't they do this during the last presidential election cycle? Why didn't they do this the entire 8 years that Joe Biden was the vice president of the United States? Dana Carvey was there. He could have done it. He had been doing Joe Biden impressions on his own in podcasts and in stand-up and these other acts. But I want you to hear Joe Biden talk about gun liability, new gun control push that he's got going on in the month before the election. That's not suspicious. And then I'm going to play just a small clip of Dana Carvey being Joe Biden this weekend right after that. And look at how close they are.
Require safe storage of firearms. I mean it. Start holding parents accountable for being negligent. By the way, if you pulled up here wherever you parked and left your key in your car, and a student steals the car and gets in an accident, you are held responsible. Why in the hell would not that be the case if you left a gun case open?
All right, so he's slurring. He sounds like me after about 6 beers. He's like, all right, it's the car. So it was desperate, so it was a liability. He runs those words together, and then he throws in these little filler phrases. By the way, you heard him say that. By the way, in other words, things like that. All right, now here, let's go back. This was 2 days before Joe Biden on Saturday.
Folks, that's right. A lot of people forget I'm president, including me. But guess what? And by the way...
See?
I think I did a pretty good job. I passed more bills than any president in history. But folks, we still got work to do, no joke. I'm being serious right now. Come on. And guess what? And by the way, the fact of the matter is, the rich don't pay their fair share. They gotta pay the fair share. We gotta build back better. Build back the better, the better, the better. Build back the better. Can't believe it's not butter.
Thank you, Jabari. Thank you so much. Thank you. And I just want to say.
All right. I almost feel like, should I go back and play the Biden again? Look at how close that is. That cracks me up. Fine, I'll do it again.
Require safe storage of firearms. I mean it.
There he is. And he does it by the way.
Negligent. By the way.
There it is. He does it by the way.
You pulled up here wherever you parked and left your key in your car.
Push over the park and left the keys in your car. Poor guy. The other big audio scandal is 60 Minutes was busted covering for Kamala. Did you see this? I saw it on my Twitter feed, and before I could actually take the time to go listen to the video side by side, Dan Bongino was doing it, so he beat me to it on WBAP. So you ADLs have already heard this, but for those of you who haven't, 60 Minutes had Kamala Harris on, and they asked her a question, and instead of keeping the tape all together without doing any selective edits and playing just the air bidet that she gave out for an answer, an absolute word salad, they edited it in a clip from earlier in the interview. And I mean, it kind of matches good enough that it sounds better than her real answer. And then when they go after the fact and just online, they just plop down, here's the whole interview, boom. Well, when you go back and you match the two, hang on. There are some sleuths out there that busted them selectively editing the video. So what they played on the air and also what they played in a promo, and this is what airs during the commercial time, during football games where 20 million people are watching. They selectively edited it. And the reason this is a big deal is how on earth can you claim to be a journalist if you're selectively editing interviews for what is no other reason than political purposes? You're a political activist outfit pretending to be news. You're a fraud if you do that. If we did that here on WBAP, I mean, we'd probably get fired, open ourselves up for a lawsuit. But I think that's pretty huge. Let's visit some of that. Where did I put that? Am I on the wrong screen? I think this is it, right? No, it's not fair share. Well, now I feel dumb because I did all that setup. Oh, no, here it is. Here is Kamala Harris's actual answer to the question.
But it seems that Prime Minister Netanyahu is not listening.
Well, Bill, the work that we have done has resulted in a number of movements in that region by Israel that were very much prompted by or a result of many things, including our advocacy for what needs to happen in the region.
Very much prompted by many things, including our advocacy. It doesn't even mean anything. Here's the edited answer.
That, Prime Minister.
By the way, this what I'm playing here, this is what they aired instead of the real answer.
It seems that Prime Minister Netanyahu is not listening.
We're not going to stop pursuing what is necessary for the United States to be clear about where we stand on the need for this war to end.
Ooh, y'all got busted. 60 Minutes is a fraud. Now, we knew 60 Minutes has a bias, and it doesn't really bother me too much that news outlets have a bias as much as other people complain about it. I think I want everyone to work on the assumption that all of the people who are delivering a newscast have some sort of bias. They can try and hide it, but really story selection is number one. What do you choose to highlight? What angle do you choose to go at that story with? I mean, these are huge, but we all remember 60 Minutes pushing back during the election of 2020. This was October of 2020, 60 Minutes.
The biggest scandal was when they spied on my campaign. They spied on my campaign.
There's no real evidence of that.
Of course there is.
No.
It's all over the place. Leslie,
Sir,
they spied on my campaign and they got caught.
Can I say something? You know, this is 60 Minutes, and we can't put on things we can't verify.
You won't put it on because it's bad for Biden.
We can't put on things we can't verify.
Leslie, they spied on my campaign.
Well, we can't verify
It's been totally verified.
No.
It's been, just go down and get the papers. They spied on my campaign, they got caught.
No.
And then they went much further than that, and they got caught. And you will see that, Leslie, and you know that, but you just don't want to put it on the air.
As a matter of fact, I don't know that.
No, you were wrong. You are wrong, and you were proven wrong in the years or so after that. Not only did they spy on the campaign, which we knew at the time. When that happened, you and I both knew that they had gotten warrants to surveil Carter Page, who was in the close inner circle that was traveling around with Donald Trump during the campaign. You know that they were able to get some backdoor hacks in other ways through other people in his close orbit. You know that they went through Sharon Atkinson's and some other journalists' computers and things like that. But also we learned after this interview in the year or two, directly after that they fudged some of the FISA court documents to get the warrants to begin with. We are going a little late. All right, got to wrap it up here. So, look, the other thing I wanted to ask you is I'm going to go talk to some people on the street. What do you want me to ask? Like, they're having a big concert. When I get out here, there's going to be a giant crowd outside of our studio lined up for a Charlie XCX concert. Do you even know? You don't have to know who that is. Some people will. What do you want me to ask these people? Because I would like to ask who you voting for and why. But it can't just be that. Like, I was thinking if there's like a Stars game out here. Yeah, that's the song. Like, if there's a Stars game, I would say, who's your favorite player and who you voting for? And then it sounds like I'm just trying to see if there's a connection between someone's politics and, whether they like a defenseman or a scorer or something to that effect. But if you have any suggestions on what I could ask just rando people in a man on the street interview, 800-288-9227, 800-288-9227. I'm James Parker. It's The James Show, News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. Hey there, welcome to The James Show, News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. If you want to jump in, 800-288-9227. How about I ask you? And you can call in with a sarcastic answer, but really, if you're on Team Blue, can you answer this? You're thinking, Parker, this is WBAP, and there's not any Kamala Harris supporters listening. Oh, yeah, there is. Oh, yeah, I hear them. I hear from them. I get their Facebook messages. I get occasional emails. Now, they're outnumbered by about 19 or 20 to 1. But I know you're out there. I'm not going to give you a hard time. I'm not going to tell you you're wrong. I would just like to hear you say it. How is Kamala Harris going to govern different from Biden? Not how she is different, because that's funny. That's her answer the first couple of times she was asked on the 60 Minutes and then The View on Monday. How would you govern? How would you be different than Biden? Well, first of all, I'm a different person. And then people laugh like, that's not funny. I mean, other than you have long hair, that's not what we're asking. How will she govern different? Well, she kind of boo-booed on 60 Minutes, and we made fun of her because, look, when you get asked a whole lot of questions and you have one mess up, I mean, that's not that big of a deal, but you didn't think of that one yet? You hadn't been asked that yet? You don't already have an answer to that? Some of your answers sounded like you were just whipping off of bullet points that you had rehearsed. You didn't have any bullet points for this one? And then when you're asked about it the next day, now it becomes a problem because you fumbled the ball twice. You came out of that 60 Minutes interview laying an egg on that question. You didn't say, well, I better come up with an answer in case I get asked that again. No, she just goes on The View. And to The View's Not to The View's credit, I should say, whatever the opposite of that is, that, they were asking her in just kind of a softball way to clean that up. They were trying to help her out. Like, give the real answer. I know you messed it up on 60 Minutes, but give the real answer. She didn't have one. So then she goes on Colbert last night, and we're 3 days in a row she's been asked this question. How was her answer this time? And after you hear this clip, I want you to be able to think, how would she govern different from this answer?
You are a member of the President's administration. Mm-hmm. Under a Harris administration, what would the major changes be, and what would stay the same?
Sure. Well, I mean, I'm obviously not Joe Biden.
Well, okay. You're not Joe Biden. See, there it is. We know you're not Joe Biden. No one has confused the two of you for the same human being. We know you have different hair color, skin color, and genitalia. Other than that, we're talking about governance. We're not talking about it. We know you wear pantsuits and he wears men's suits. No one cares about that. Not one person cares about that. But Colbert's given her a chance to clean it up. Will she do it?
Biden.
I know.
And so that would be one change in terms of. But
clap.
Also, I think it's important to say with 28 days to go, I'm not Donald Trump. And so when we think about the significance of what this next generation of leadership looks like, were I to be elected president, it is about.
What would you do different?
I love the American people.
What would you do different?
I believe in our country.
What would you do different?
I love that it is our character and nature.
But what would you do different?
An ambitious people. What does that have to do with anything? We have aspirations. We have dreams. We have incredible work ethic, and I just
what would you do
believe
different?
That we can create and build upon the success we've achieved in a way that we continue to grow opportunity.
What would you do different?
Grow the strength of our nation. So, for example, my economic policies.
Oh, good. Here,
I think of it, and I've named it as creating an opportunity economy. So it's about things like investing in small businesses. I love our small businesses. The woman who helped raise us, we call her our second mother because my mother worked long days and hours.
Are we doing the middle class thing again?
Owner. So as a child, I grew up knowing that a small business owner.
What would you do different?
A leader in the community, hires locally, trains locally, builds, contributes to the civic and the cultural fabric.
But what would you do different?
My plan includes extending a tax deduction for startup small businesses to $50,000 instead of what currently it is at $5,000, because nobody in 2024 can start up a small business with $5,000. I believe,
That's something,
and I spend a lot of time talking in particular with young families, young people.
All right, I can't do it. Young families and stuff. You're not talking to divorced people, always young families. Not talking to old people who are unemployed, always young families, young working people. We got to give her the Billy Madison answer for this one.
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard. At no point in your rambling, incoherent response were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought. Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it. I award you no points, and may God have mercy on your soul.
And she also has earned herself the Cheers tag.
Kevin Fogarty, City Council. I hope I have your vote on Election Day.
And why exactly should I vote for you, Mr. Fogarty?
Well, because I'm a hard worker. I take a stand.
On what exactly?
The issues of the day.
Which are?
The things that concern you and your family the most.
Now, fine, don't answer then.
I think you're making it studies.
I am not. I simply want the councilman to say one concrete thing.
Yes, I understand. You don't trust me. A lot of people don't trust politicians. I know how it is. I have been out there.
What does that have to do with?
Isn't that what she just did? I've been out there.
Maybe we need someone to blame. Maybe if we pick some faceless person at City Hall to be responsible for all our problems, then we won't have to accept any responsibility at all.
This is so close to Kamala Harris.
I say now is the time to start looking in the mirror. Because if this thing is going to work, we are all going to have to make it work. The way a bunch of people made something work at Lexington and Concord. You may remember it. It's called America.
But he didn't say anything!
All right, Team Blue, someone call in and tell me how Kamala will govern different than Biden. I'll give you the chance to do it. Maybe you can explain it better than she can. 800-288-9227. 800-288-9227. It's a hard task, though. On CNN last night, there was a roundtable. It was Scott Jennings, who is someone who shares your political leanings. And then he's at a table with 4 people who disagree with him. One of them's the host, and then 3 other guests. Listen to the explanation that the 3 other guests, who are there for the sole purpose of trying to make Kamala Harris look good, listen to their answer on why Kamala gives such a bad answer on how she'll govern different.
Kamala Harris is a loyal person to her boss, and she's not going to use an interview to throw him under the bus for clickbait.
Oh, she's just being too nice to Joe Biden. She didn't want to insult Joe Biden. Yeah, that's right. That's why she doesn't have an answer. That's why she doesn't have an answer 3 days in a row. You could come up with something, at least have a prepared answer that you repeat all 3 days, or something better than, I love the American people and I love our small businesses, and I'm from a house where I know a small business owner and people take care of their lawns, and you shouldn't, you don't want to throw them under the bus. That's what you got. Don't want to throw them under you're just too nice. That's her problem. She's just so nice and respectful of people. That's why she can't give a straight answer to a simple question. Next excuse maker, same thing.
She's going to be loyal to this guy. I think you're absolutely right. She cannot, especially as a woman, throw him under the bus. She needs to look loyal, and she has been loyal to him. And I think people would find that upsetting if she threw him under the bus too.
Yeah, see. She just copied the answer she heard, but threw in the woman card. Especially as a woman, she can't be throwing her boss under the bus. Yeah, she can. And then the last guy actually came up with something different. Here's the third excuse.
Well, on one of the most important issues of our time, abortion rights, reproductive rights, she is different. She's clearer. She's visited a reproductive health clinic. She's more passionate. She doesn't have to say it. It's obvious. This is why the race is neck and neck. Women are supporting her much more than they supported Joe Biden.
So his answer is she's even more abortion-y than Biden is. They hold the same position on abortion. She actually went to a clinic. That's how she'll govern. This is what you have. This is the big gulf of separation between Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. Is she's even more abortion-y than Joe, who is 100% pro-abortion? That's like not even possible. 800-288-9227. Can someone explain to me if she'll do anything different? I think we all know why she doesn't have an answer. All right, you need to register today for the Susan G. Komen Race for the Cure. That's coming up next Saturday, the 19th, Saturday, October 19th. They're raising money for research and support for those in the fight against cancer. So go to Komen.org/Dallas Race, Komen, Dallas race. And seriously, Team Blue, I promise I'll be respectful and I'll be nice, just like the weather control people earlier. 800-288-9227. I would love to hear your explanation on how she would be different than Joe Biden. 800-288-9227. That and Debbie Schlussel's coming up next on the News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. Hey there, all you beautiful Texans. Welcome back to the James Show. It's News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. I know, let's go. Pretty excited here. Hey, keep the questions coming in. You can call in and tell Garrett. I mean, I guess I could put you on the air if you really need to tell me, but I think I'm going to do a Man on the Street interview tonight. There's a Charlie XCX concert that's happening at the American Airlines Center, which is on the same property we're on, and it's this song. Remember this? She also did like the hook on I'm So Fancy. There's going to be thousands of people streaming out of the American Airlines Center. And look, these are people who don't listen to WBAP. We get a chance to learn what's on their mind. Send me the questions you would like for me to ask. Matt sent in a good one. His is, what's the something wild you've done that your parents don't know about? Ooh, he's trying to get into somebody's secrets. That's a good one, though. Something like that. I know who you voting for and why, or how Kamala would be different than Biden. That'd be funny to get some answers on. And I might ask that. But if you can think of anything else, other people are sending me questions, mostly via Facebook Messenger, which is fine. But also James at WBAP.com if you want to do the old caveman technology and email me. My next guest, good friend of mine, Debbie Schlussel's back on the James Show. And I bet you have some hot opinions on Kamala Harris in her string of interviews. We were just talking in the last segment how 3 days in a row, in 3 different interviews, she's been asked how she will govern different than Joe Biden, and she didn't have an answer on 60 Minutes. She didn't have an answer on The View, and she didn't have an answer on Colbert last night. She doesn't have an answer to that still, Debbie.
Hey, you forgot one of the shows she was on, which was Howard Stern, but all the shows you mentioned were all shows that basically kissed her rear end. And I noticed that Howard Stern, for example, didn't ask her the usual questions. He didn't ask her what color panties she has on. He didn't ask her, all the lewd questions usually.
Well, when you were on, did he ask the color of your drawers?
Oh, yeah, always, but I never answered.
Oh.
But he didn't even ask her. I mean, if she was on Call Your Daddy or Call Her Daddy, whatever, we know what that show's about, too. It's like Stern. And they didn't ask her any of that stuff.
Wait a second.
I didn't. A little bit odd.
I've gone back and watched videos of you on Howard Stern. I don't remember him asking you about your drawers.
Oh, he did ask many times. I never answered.
I'm such a psycho. I need to go see that video now. If it's out there, I will find it. Well, the crazy part, it started out that we were all kind of surprised. Wow, you don't have an answer for that already prepared, or you couldn't think of something on the spot. And then for it to happen 2 days in a row, we're like, all right, you're a little dense. You might want to get an answer for that. Now that it's happened, 3-4 times? Like, how many times is this going to happen before she comes up with an answer?
I don't think she has to have an answer because I don't think anyone is holding her feet to the fire to give an answer. And I think really there's no good answer she can give because if she's going to be different, why didn't she speak up during 4 years of Biden? If she's going to be the same, that's not good either. Nobody wants that. So I don't know what she can possibly say except, I grew up in the middle class and, my friend, our neighbor was a small business owner. And other droning on about baloney that has nothing to do with anything that's being asked, that she's been doing each time.
She did grow up in a middle-class family, though. She just wants you to know that.
She did not. She didn't. Her parents were professors. They were very wealthy. I mean, it's, compared to the average American. And they had much better benefits.
Well, look,
I mean,
she didn't like have a Bentley and a butler, and her dad didn't wear like a monocle, but they're definitely upper middle class.
No, she wasn't Posh Spice or whatever her name is, Victoria Beckham. She wasn't her. She wasn't driving around in a Rolls, but she still had it better than most Americans. I mean, I think if she wasn't in the top 1%, she was probably in the top 2 to 5%.
Do you think Kamala really owns a Glock?
She might. I don't know. I don't believe anything she says. I know that she's got a husband that slaps women, so
Yeah, you know what? I saw that headline but didn't read that story. So what's the backstory on that one?
So I don't know the whole backstory, but this woman says that he hit her, that he punched her just, I think, a couple of days ago, and he claims it didn't happen. Or
wait. She made the claim a couple days ago, or the hit happened a couple days ago?
The hit allegedly happened a couple of days ago.
Oh, this was recent? This isn't like when he was dating a girl in college?
No, this is not the nanny that he knocked up and got her to get an abortion. This is not that. But I mean, this guy is bad news. If you have daughters, don't you?
Yeah, I have 2 sons, 2 daughters.
All right. So if she was going out with some guy who, you found out was married to somebody else, he cheated on that person, he slept with the nanny, got her pregnant, and then now he's married to this woman, and he, there's just his daughter supports Hamas. I mean, that's a mess. That's exactly the person you never want your daughter to end up with. Which is why you would have to do reverse psychology and act like you love him so that your daughter would hate him and get rid of him.
What is Doug Emhoff's deal?
I think he's probably just a lousy person. And come on. His wife couldn't trust him, his first wife. His second wife probably can't trust him either. And his second wife, we can't trust. So there's a whole lot of mistrust going on, and it's a lot of bad news.
How come you're not on Howard Stern anymore?
You should ask Howard. After a while, they just stopped having me on. And when they did have me on, even people that hated me said, I don't like you, but they treated you so rude, you shouldn't go on again, just for your own sake. And what they would do is the same thing they did to a lot of other people, where you think you're talking and really they're like saying stuff over you and you don't know. And they also ambushed Roger Ebert, the late movie critic, when he was on, by having me come on, which I didn't mind that, but I felt like they should have told him. And I don't know. When I was on there at the beginning till towards the end, it was fun. It was fun to argue with Jason Alexander, who was trying to pimp us on his stupid kids book, and he couldn't get a word in edgewise because I was calling him to the mat for his recommendation that all Palestinians and Hamas supporters should be able to vote in Israeli elections, which is absurd. Nice. And he was supporting stuff like that, and he couldn't get a word in edgewise, and Howard wouldn't hang up on me. He kept letting me talk, and Jason Alexander was upset. Those were fun times. But, Howard then, I think, was a more fair-minded guy. He was more libertarian. He didn't like the establishment on either side at the top. Now he's just a full-on woke liberal, which is why Kamala got to go on there.
Yeah, it's so boring, too.
Normal, because it's totally boring. You never hear about him anymore.
Well, I was such a fan. I used to be on a station, and our show came after him here in Dallas, and he's not the same guy. Yeah.
Yeah, I was on a station in Detroit. He's absolutely not the same guy. My show used to come on at night, and he was in the morning. And he married Beth Ostrowski. And
Yoko. All right. Debbie, we're running out of time here. How do they find your work outside of WBAP?
DebbieDoesPolitics.com, on Twitter at Debbie Schlossel. Google my name, you'll figure it out. On Facebook at Debbie S fan page, and on Instagram at Real Debbie Schlossel.
All right, there she is. Thank you, Debbie Schlossel.
Thank you.
I'm sorry you've fallen all the way from the great Howard Stern to the James Show, but we're happy for your time. I appreciate it. All right, coming up next, Kamala Harris bought the battle pass and unlocked a new accent. My gamer friends will get that. For the rest of y'all, she affected a new accent, and we'll hear the audio next. 800-288-9227, 800-288-9227. Still haven't got one call from Team Blue explaining how Kamala is going to govern different than Joe Biden, but I'm asking you again, call in. I promise a respectful discussion will be had. 800-288-9227. I'm James Parker. This is The James Show. News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. Hey, welcome to The James Show. News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. To answer the question over here in the chat room, the word for that is baculum. If you know what it is, go ahead and get a quick laugh. For those of you who don't Google it. Just don't even bother Googling what a baculum is. Kids, pretend you didn't hear that word. So I was asking the question because Kamala Harris has done a lackluster job in answering the last 3 days in a row how she would govern different than Joe Biden. I've just been asking for some of my listeners out there on Team Blue. Let's give you a little bit of representation. Let's give you a little bit of attention on the show today. How do you think? What do you think is a good answer to that? How will Kamala, I should say, Govern different than Biden. 800-288-9227. This is Isaac in Burleson. Thanks for calling the James Show. What's your answer, sir?
Basically, she does not have to separate herself that much from Joe Biden's policy. The only thing she needs to do is tighten up on the border, and everything will be fine. I know inflation is high, but it is now at 2.5%. They just recently dropped the interest rate, so we should go lower once they make another change in interest rate. So she doesn't need to separate that much from Joe Biden.
Man, your answer is so much better than hers. Give yourself credit. This is what we wanted to hear from Kamala Harris, because I like that. I think that's a good approach she should have. It wouldn't be that different. I might tighten up the border, but other than that, things are going pretty good. That's a great answer, Isaac. Why doesn't she say that?
Well, maybe she doesn't have the handlers that she needs around her to help her to articulate that.
Right.
She will be fine because, number one, Trump has a lot of negatives. I believe there'll be millions of Republicans who will not vote for Trump due to January 6th. And you just had Debbie on. She talked about Doug and his supposed affairs, but you guys are voting for the candidate who had 2 mistresses, who had 3 wives, who had 5 kids. So it's kind of amazing when you can criticize one guy for his infidelities, but you weren't willing to make the other guy the president of the United States. So she just got to articulate better. And you see that Trump would not debate her, and I wonder why, because he got embarrassed on national TV.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of subjective there at the end. He would definitely debate her if it was going to be on Fox News and the moderators were going to be someone who weren't thoroughly anti-Trump, or at least one of each. But no, your point stands. I appreciate you calling in. But do you listen on a regular basis? Do you just stomach all my garbage political opinions?
James Parker, you've been knowing me for years. You and I have been exchanging ideas and conversations ever since you was on the other radio station. You know who I am.
Oh, my goodness. I didn't even dawn on me until you just said that. Well, it's good to reconnect with you, Isaac. That's fantastic. And thank you for being judicious enough in public relations to not promote another radio outfit. That's fantastic. Oh, man. You know how happy that makes me? Because he's good. You just heard he's good. I got a good caller back. That's great. Pumped about that. Oh, all right. I promised you Kamala Harris dropped a new accent. I guess like in Fortnite, when you get the battle pass and you level up, you get to unlock different new abilities and things like that. Little new dances. Well, this is a new dance she unlocked. The new Kamala Harris. I think this is Jamaican, but that'll be my next question for you. What the hell accent is this? 800-288-9227.
Have you no empathy, man?
Yes.
You know, for the suffering of other people. Have you no sense of purpose?
Kind of sounded like a Hispanic, like almost a Mexican accent in a couple of parts there. Let's try this again. Kamala's new accent.
Have you no empathy, man?
Yes.
You know, for the suffering of other people. Have you no sense of purpose?
What is that? It's like Mexican, Jamaican, a Jamaican who went to Mexico. I don't know. Thought that was interesting. We all had a good laugh at that. The other interesting little audio clip I'm going to float by you here is Elon Musk was on the new Tucker Carlson show that's only online, and he's making the case here, and I hear this a lot off the show. I don't see him talking about this a whole lot on TV. Of course, they're not going to talk about it in like the mainstream channels, but even Fox News or Fox Business or someone, you think they'd be hammering this home, this whole voter ID thing. It's just a very thinly veiled attempt to relax election laws so you can't prove fraud.
So my prediction is if there's another 4 years of a Dem administration, they will legalize so many illegals that are there that the next election, there won't be any swing states. And we'll be a single party country, just like California is a single party state. It's a supermajority Dem state in California.
Because of immigration?
Yes. California was fairly reliably Republican.
Bill Clinton lost California in 92 and won West Virginia.
Yes. So there was a 1986 amnesty.
Yes.
Thereafter, California trended very strongly Dem, and is at this point, I think, 65-70% Dem, something like that. It's supermajority Dem. The California legislature is more than 2/3 Democrat.
Right. Okay. So now he's added a little layer to the very shallow discussion that we've had. Not that makes it wrong, but one of the strategies, one of the thought processes behind having the border wide open is you have all these people come in. And once they're in here, all you got to do is find out some paperwork way to give them status, which they've already done. When they talk about the Haitians in Springfield, technically, you can call them legal because they filled out some form on an app, and so they don't get deported. But they didn't go through the legal immigration system. The point is to get them here, make sure they don't get deported, and then next step, get them voting. Why else? I mean, why else would they be okay with this for 3.5 years and then shut it down for the last 6 months? 800-288-9227. Coming up next, we're going to talk to a dating and relationship expert about how politics are ruining going on a date. 800-288-9227. This is The James Show. I'm James Parker on News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. Hey there, welcome back to The James Show. News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. Listen, I know things are kind of politicized right now, but we are, 28 days until the election? 28 days. So listen, while things are kind of hot and heavy right now, there's reason to believe that some of this will calm down, some of this polarization will subside, especially as soon as we get past the election. We'll have Thanksgiving and Christmas and New Year's and the Super Bowl. We'll forget about some of the gnashing of teeth and the wailing of political opinions. But for you single people, I hear you out there. This has become a real problem, more so than it's been in the past. Or maybe I'm just hearing about it more than I did in the past. Jennifer Stiers is a dating and relationship expert. Is politics invading personal relationships, is that something that's on the increase, or is our awareness just increasing of it?
Well, it is definitely on the increase. It has been as each election has come and gone, it's increased more, and by far this is the highest and most heated it's ever been.
Well, I think maybe in our lifetime, I can't help but think that things might have been a little bit more heated, at least politically, in polarization during like the Civil War, perhaps.
Oh, well, we wouldn't know.
Right.
That's a good point. But I will tell you that it's been hot on the non-negotiable list for a long time, and it's not just during political season. I think this political season has fired up more people on both sides. And interestingly enough, the statistics say Democrats more so than Republicans, especially women Democrats, are not willing to even go outside of their party. So we're really looking at Democrats dating Democrats, Republicans dating Republicans, and just people not wanting to budge.
Well, and that makes
Mostly
sense because they think we're Nazis, and they think we're racist, sexist, bigots, homophobes, or we support, we passively or have been duped by a guy who is a Nazi. So that makes sense. And going the other way, we just think y'all need to stop listening to people on TV. It's not that we think you're evil. So yeah, that's unfortunate.
It really is. I can honestly say it's the worst I've ever seen. I mean, I'm in this world and I'm talking about dating and I'm kind of in the spotlight there. And I've been attacked myself this election season. I mean, and I really try to stay as neutral as possible. But I think we're at a point now where you can't even have a conversation about it. And that's what everybody's finding, is that we are on such different places about everything. And it's not just about values anymore. I feel like I used to be able to say this is about values, but it's not. It's what you just said. And I'm glad you said it, because you said it perfectly, because it is about me versus you, and you're this and I'm this, So,
right. Well, I've seen examples that pull me in both directions, because there's the classic example that most people know of James Carville and Mary Magdalene. They've been married, and happily so, for decades. It's a cute little thing to watch how affectionate and happy they appear to be when he's a Democrat consultant and she's a Republican consultant. And then there's other examples. I have a friend named Hiram whose wife pretty much divorced him because he voted for Trump.
Yeah, well, everybody uses the same example, that we know the one married couple that's doing it.
There's one. Right.
Yeah, just one. Everybody uses the same one, and I hear them on the same interviews. And but are there some? Yes, but I know a lot like you that they actually live in separate households and things like that because they're so divided.
Dang.
I think we're just at that place we've come that these mindsets of what we believe and how we believe about ourselves, our bodies, our nation, patriotism, all of that. We're all in different places. Gen Z being the worst and women being the most polarized.
Oh, yeah. Look, and this isn't to beat up women. I can explain that one in a second. So you're turned off by people who are politically opposite of you. I don't know one man who would kick Scarlett Johansson out of bed. She's a flaming liberal. Would you turn down a date with her? Would you say no thanks? I would rather go to dinner by myself? Of course, men wouldn't. It just speaks to how shallow we are, Jennifer.
Yeah, well, yes. And you're willing. I mean, how long can a guy overlook that, though, if she starts talking politics or those things start coming up? I think there's a fine line. But
forever.
I think initially,
forever.
So funny. Yeah. Women, not at all. I mean, it is definitely a deal breaker. Like I said, Gen Z being the worst. No way. The Democrats are not dating Republicans.
That's funny. Well, my wife and I are pretty well politically aligned, and she's asked me before, like, would you have still married me if we didn't agree politically? I was like, dude, I would be wearing a red shirt. I'd be wearing a Che Guevara shirt with a beret on right now. Like, yes, comrade. I will spend the rest of my life with you. All right, you can find her at lovejen, JENN.com. What's going on over there at your website these days?
Well, we're actually building a matchmaking app right now, so we should be relaunching in November. And it's something quality. People are stopping the swipe, and so we are hitting the market at a good time with something where people that are looking for real love have an opportunity to actually find it based on who they are, their values, all those things.
You can make it about politics, Politidate or something. I don't know. All right. Thanks again for being on the James Show. I appreciate your time. Jen Stiers, you can find her lovejen.com, LOVEJENN.com. All right, before we get you out of here, I got a couple of audio bites to play for you just to show that the political rhetoric, it's just hotter than ever. They're not pulling back. They're not throwing some cold water on it. They're not tapping the brakes. You're still a Nazi. You'll hear it next in about 5 minutes on The James Show. I'm James Parker. It's News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. Hey, welcome to The James Show. News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. I'm not reading if you send me a book. If you send me a video that's like 2 hours long, don't expect me to watch it. But I do love getting your feedback. A couple of great topics that I've been just reading, what I've been doing on the commercials for pretty much the whole show. Number one, all the geoengineering experts out there, thank you very much for your theories on both sides of whether or not machines can control the weather. Both of y'all are making some very emotional, strongly worded statements, saying the exact opposite things. I totally enjoy that. And also the other one I'm enjoying the feedback on is I'm thinking about doing some man on the street interviews after this big concert lets out next to the studios. I'll be getting out of work as soon as a mass of people are walking through. Send me the questions you'd like to hear me ask. Because I don't want to start out with like all political stuff and scare people away. You got to ask them like soft questions and then spring the politics on at the end, So when they're coming out of a concert, I would say like, what's your favorite song? What's your name? Where are you from? I really like Matt's question. I think this one's going to be in here. What's the worst thing you've done that your parents don't know about? Ooh, see if anybody tells some secrets. Maybe we'll get a Hawk Tuah girl out of it or something, and me and Garrett can retire millionaires next week. But you can send those questions. Most people, I don't know why they chose this, but Facebook Messenger. That's the number one way people are getting their questions to me. And then quite a few are going to james@wbap.com. All right, so back to the sound bites over here. You know who Quentin Fulks is? I'm saying Fulks. You don't have to call the FCC and register a complaint. He's with the Kamala Harris campaign, and he's on TV saying not only is Trump Hitler, not only is he dangerous, not only is he a threat to democracy, so's J.D. Vance. They're so bad. And I'm not playing this because it's something new. Of course, you've heard them be called Nazis or whatever, but this isn't some random dude on Twitter. This isn't some existing media personality on MSNBC. This is a spokesman with the campaign So for anyone hoping that they would tone down the rhetoric after the shooting in Butler, Pennsylvania, and after the disrupted shooter at Mar-a-Lago, after the Arizona manhunt where they tried to chase down that other guy who made an actionable threat, after all that's been going on, the demonization continues at a blistering pace.
Well, look, I think that everything is important with the truncated time frame that we have had in this unprecedented cycle. And what I will say is that vice presidential debates do matter, especially when these vice presidential candidates are one heartbeat away from being the president of the United States. And we see exactly how dangerous J.D. Vance is. Him and Donald Trump are cut from the same cloth. And so I think that Americans should absolutely pay attention to this debate. They should hear how dangerous J.D. Vance is. They should hear how he doubles down on Project 2025 and wants to give Donald Trump unchecked political power with no guardrails, and how, if God forbid anything did happen to former President Trump, he would step in. And it's hard to say this, or even hard to believe it sometimes, but would be even more dangerous and more extreme than Donald Trump. And so Americans should pay attention. And I think that this actually does really, really matter.
Yes, Trump is literally Hitler. Trump is a threat to democracy. Trump's a threat to all women, all minorities, all gay people, all trans. Probably people who are really short, too. But you know what? J.D. Vance, even worse. Stop, man. Just calm down. You got a candidate who can't even say how she will govern different than the guy that she's currently tethered to when she's claiming, oh, this is a new change. It's a new direction. Turn over a new leaf. Well, okay, well, what would be new? No answers there. Okay, well, what about the other side? What's your opinion on them? You know, Hitler, you remember that guy Hitler? Worst guy in history? Yeah, these guys are even worse. That's your campaign platform. I don't think they put a whole lot of thought into this. And at some point, aren't you going to get sick of being called a Nazi? So brutal. All right, my heart goes out to those people in Fort Worth that are dealing with Milton right now. Thank your lucky stars that you didn't have to go through this. You know, I was born and raised in East Texas. Spent a big chunk of my adulthood here in Dallas. We don't have to deal with hurricanes. When I lived in New Orleans for a year, I know what these guys are going through. Right now, you're thinking, when I get home, is there going to be a house? And you haven't had to go through, you probably haven't had to go through that. Just say a little like prayer of omission, thanking God that you haven't had to go through that. Because, yeah, I mean, I know it's just stuff. I know it's just bricks and sticks and some gypsum and some drywall. But when you have like 4 kids who are looking up at you, you don't want them to say, Daddy, where are we going to sleep tonight? Because you don't have a house. And that's what about 3 million people are going through right now. One thing you need for a hurricane, whether it actually hurts you or not, the anxiety. You need Pepto-Bismol. That should be in everyone's hurricane list. All right, thank you very much for hanging out with the James Show today. I promised you another keyword for those of you trying to win the trip to Vegas to see scorpions. Your keyword now, German. What are scorpions from Germany or something? I have no idea. I'm just doing what they tell me. So you text that word right now. 95819 is the number you text German for another chance to win a trip to Vegas to see scorpions live at Planet Hollywood. Your next clue is going to come on the WBAP morning show tomorrow. For a full list of contest rules, go to WBAP.com. And I know a lot of you people are playing because I missed one of the keywords last week, and I had to hear about it. What was the keyword, Parker? You're supposed to give me another one. All right, I'll play the game. Thank you very much for hanging out with me today. If you need more of the James Show, I'm about to get out of here and put up the podcast. It'll be available WBAP.com. Download the free WBAP app, or you're already listening to podcasts. Just look for the James Show or James Parker. It pops right up. Thank you very much for your time. I appreciate it. I hope I made it worth your while, and I'll be back to do this tomorrow. I'm James Parker. This has been the James Show on News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3.